Friends, how are you? How's things in your life? You should go down to the comments and let me know. Or ask me questions. Or say hi. Whatever. Um, you saw the title. Last night, I went way out of my comfort zone. I drove to a stranger's house with my bass guitar and played music. I have officially played music with another person and had a blast. If you're not aware, last week I mentioned that I had responded to an ad. I saw an ad for a bass player for a jazz, kind of a smooth jazz thing. The post was from a piano player who has played in jazz groups before and is putting something together and wanted to play with a bass player. And I hesitated a few times. I started to type out a response and then stopped, and started to type out a response and stopped. But I read this post a few times, and it wasn't just like looking for experienced bass player, blah. It was looking for bass player, preferably upright. I don't play upright, but that's fine. He didn't say won't accept electric. Needs to have basic understanding of music theory, yada, 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 yada. The way the post was worded, it was like, it felt to me like the person was saying, I would love to have an experienced upright player, but I'll also work with somebody to get them up to speed if that's what we have to do. And so I just said, you know what? I'm never going to progress. I'm never going to reap or have leaps in progress if I don't push myself. And so eventually I did respond. I said, I'm an electric player. I've only been playing for a year. I've never played in a group like this. I know music theory-ish. I'm working on my knowledge of music theory. I know scales. I know that. I know this, know that. And then he sent me back some message and he was like, listen, watch this video. Tell me if you can play that bass line. How is your rhythm? Because I'm very sensitive to rhythm. Yada, yada, yada. And I said, so I watched it, and it was basically a bossa nova bass line, which if you never really listened to bossa nova, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much just like doom, doo, doom, doo, doom. It's that kind of thing. I could play that for hours, like not a problem. And then when he asked about rhythm, I said, I got this. Like, I'm very confident about my rhythm. I'm a drummer at heart. I've played drums for 6 years of my life. Plus, I still play drum. Like, I still drum. So I maintain my rhythmic sense. And he thought that was pretty bold. And so he sent me some songs to practice and some changes and keys, some of his changes that he likes to make to those songs. And I practiced over the weekend, and then I just did it. I went, we sat down, we played just the two of us. And immediately we got done with that. Like, we jumped right into it, played it, maybe had a couple little issues, but it was more because the chart that I had, like, he likes to kind of chop it up a little bit differently, which I didn't know this about jazz, but I learned last night that jazz is kind of like OG punk. It was really just people took these songs and just remixed them, like, meaning that we'll take this part out and we'll double up this part and we'll just kind of make it our own thing, but it's still that song. It's just kind of, we shuffled some bits around. I didn't know that. I didn't know that jazz players did that. I know that jazz has a lot of improv, and that's a very normal thing to do in the middle of a song, is have like a section of improv. But I didn't know that they just kind of messed up songs and made it their own thing. And that was really fun. So we played, just the two of us, probably played through it like 3 or 4 times. But after the first time, he was like, he complimented me a lot. And then he said, you're better than bass players I've played with that have been playing for years. And I was just like, what? Wow. And I told him, like, I'm willing to put in the work. Turns out he was a super awesome dude. He's 10 years older than me. He's been playing piano forever, has been in bands and had gigs and done all that stuff. He has a little recording studio in his house. And I think we were going to work well together. Ultimately, by the end of the night, he was like, I'm not looking for anybody else. I want you. If you're willing to do this, let's do it. And I said, absolutely. We worked on 4 songs. So to the start of this, and here's the thing about jazz is it's not easy. Like it kind of, like I just said, that bossa nova bass line is quote simple and easy. It's not. Like it's a challenge to keep that up and to hear the changes, do the changes, stick together as a group. There's a little bit of a push and pull there. Like it's not just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, right? So we did a lot. We did work on some bossa nova tunes, Black Orpheus, and Once I Loved, I think, which I think he told me was originally not really a bossa song, but we're kind of playing it that way. And then the other song that we worked on was My Funny Valentine, which we ended up coming up with. Well, he came up with a really cool bass line for that sounds kind of dark and dreary, and I really like it. So it was a blast. Like I said the other day, that even if this session turned out to be nothing more than this one time thing, even if I was never going to play with this person again, I was just happy to go to some place with my bass and play music and experience that. What is that like? How does that feel? Can I do this? And yeah, I went there, I did it, and I can do it, and I'm stupid excited about it. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, let's go, we already scheduled next week's practice, and we're just going to try to rehearse as much as we can. And we both have the same feeling of we're not going to book sessions. We're not going to book gigs until we feel like we're there, right? Like he said that his previous band that he was playing with, one of the things that he didn't like about that group was that they felt they were good enough, and they really weren't willing to put in the work to be as good as he wanted them to be. Like, if we're going to go play, we're going to go make people go, wow, I want those guys back. Not, they were all right. We don't want to be all right. We want to be good. And so we're willing to put in the work, whatever that is. If that's months, great. If that's years even, okay, let's just work towards it. But we're going to take it easy. And, I'm not. I'm going to be practicing my ass off because this guy's a pianist who's been playing forever and knows these songs backwards and forwards, and he doesn't have a problem playing them. I just need to be able to play with him in a musical way, meaning that it's not just a rigid form. You're playing this, we need to be able to kind of ebb and flow with the music together rhythmically. And that just takes time playing together, I think. I have vague memories of playing like jazz music in high school. I played a lot of mallets, so I was playing marimbas, and I was taking solos on marimbas and that sort of stuff. And I have this vague memory of that feeling that you get when you lock in with the rest of the group, and when you decide to, instead of like let's run it once more, it just kind of happens, and everybody just follows along, and it works out. And then let's hit to the ending, let's get out of here, and you have this push and pull feeling that just kind of makes it work. I remember having that feeling vaguely, and I think that will develop again as we work through these songs. So I'm excited. Maybe in the not too distant future, I will share some of my bass playing of these songs to see what you guys think. I don't know how I don't want to do that here. Like, that's not going to be a Daily Shed episode where I'm just going to sit here and play bass. But I'd like to figure out a way to kind of share my progress, because I think that I was hugely complimented by him, meaning that I took it as a huge compliment, that I've only been playing for a year and he felt like I was good at, I've got this, we can work on this, as opposed to, you need to come back in a year or whatever. Nah, he was just like, yeah, you're good, let's go. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm stupid excited. I've got some new songs. We're gonna work on these 4 songs again next week, I think, and maybe introduce some other stuff. The thing about bossa nova, like I said, is they're kind of all the same bass line. They just move, root notes move. So once you know that groove and the basic song structure, you kind of just open the book to a new bossa nova song, and I can play it. He needs to learn his part, or he already knows his part. But for me, it's pretty straightforward. So I think we'll be able to crush out like a batch of bossa novas, and then start working on some other stuff, so that we have a more well-rounded set. So It was a blast. I'm stupid excited. I can't wait to go back. I have a lot of work ahead of me, but I'm more than willing to put in the work. So, yeah, that's my story about playing music for the first time as a 46-year-old who just started playing bass a year ago. I'm crazy excited. Thoughts, comments down below. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumb. And if you're new here, please subscribe. We are still on positive subscriber growth, and that feels fantastic. Thank you for making me feel fantastic. I'll see you tomorrow. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do differently. We are learning 12 tough truths that help you grow. Number 1, everything is as it should be. It's crazy how you always end up where you're meant to be. How even the most tragic and stressful situations eventually teach you important lessons that you never dreamed you were going to learn. Remember, often when things are falling apart, they're actually falling into place. Yeah, I think things work out. I've recognized that many times in my life, and I've put faith in that many times in my life. Whether it's spiritual faith or personal faith or emotional faith, I take a lot of stock in the idea that things will be the way they're supposed to be.